Three, two, one.
Welcome to Trees 3 here on Sports Tree Ltd. Folks, I'm your host Connor Roundtree as always, and cheers, you've made it to the weekend. To get this show started off, we're going to start it with our Stump and Bump of the Week, starting things out with our Stump of the Week. And while this guy isn't necessarily a stump, let me ask you this. You see your idol outside your local pub signing autographs. What do? Me personally, I'd go grab a hat, grab a pen, and see if I could get the guy's John Hancock. This random guy sees Chris Eubank Jr. outside, out and about, runs home and grabs his microwave. And now officially has the coolest microwave in the world. Well, it may not have all the bells and whistles, it has Chris Eubank Jr.'s autograph. I just love this hilarious thought process. Like, you're walking down the street, maybe run into a McDonald's, grab a napkin. Nah, I'm gonna go home and get a goddamn kitchen appliance to get Chris Eubank Jr. to sign. This guy is something else. You're our Stump of the Week. Getting into our Bump of the Week now, it has to go to Alexander Ovechkin. Folks, if you weren't aware, the puck dropped on the NHL season earlier in the week, and Alexander Ovechkin is already top 5 goals scored all time in the NHL. On Wednesday night, the Great 8 scored a pair of goals to tie and then surpass Marcel Dionne's mark of 731 NHL goals scored. Ovi, now at 732 goals, is just one game into the 2021 season and has a real shot of surpassing both Brett Hall and Jaromir Jagr this year. It's been awesome growing up and being able to watch Alexander Ovechkin play. Love him or hate him, you have to respect the man's goal-scoring prowess. Alexander Ovechkin, you get our Bump of the Week. That leads us into number 3 this week on Trees 3, folks. It is NHL hockey, the first NHL Saturday of the season, and man, oh man, is it great to have hockey back in proper Trees 3 fashion. I'm going to give you the 3 best games to look out for on Saturday night, and 3 picks to go along with it. First up, after a stellar performance from Anton Forsberg on Thursday night, the Leafs and Sounders meet again on Saturday, this time in Toronto. The Leafs threw everything but the kitchen sink at Forsberg on Thursday, and I expect a similar output on Saturday from Toronto's skaters. On the back end, Jack Campbell has looked stellar this season, boasting a .976 save percentage and a .76 goals against average through the 2 appearances this season. I like the Leafs to earn the win at home on Saturday night and get a little payback for Thursday. Up next, folks, Marc-Andre Fleury is back in Pittsburgh to face the Penguins, and that's always a tantalizing thought. This time, the veteran netminder will be backstopping the Chicago Blackhawks, a team coming off a tough OT loss on Friday night in New Jersey. Despite Flower giving the Hawks a much-needed boost between the pipes on Saturday night, I don't see the Blackhawks getting out of Pittsburgh with their first win of the season. I like the Penguins. For our third and final pick, how about we finish things off with a little Battle of Alberta? The Flames and Oilers produce some of the most skilled, fast, and physical hockey in the NHL. Plus, these teams genuinely hold disdain for each other. Edmonton was able to rally against Vancouver and win their season opener in a shootout. I like the Edmonton Oilers to roll on Saturday night. They've won 5 straight games dating back to preseason play. Coming in at number 2 this week, folks, on Trees 3 is the UFC. Now, I went perfect last weekend in my UFC picks and the picks that we zeroed in on across the UFC card, and we're going to give you 6 more picks to look out for this weekend. Up first, it is Ludovic Klein. He has a knockout win inside the octagon, and Nate Landwehr has been knocked out in 2 out of his last 3 fights. I like Klein to win this fight via stoppage. Ramazan Emiev takes on Danny Roberts, who hasn't fought since 2019 and has lost 2 out of those 3 fights before that hiatus. I like Emiev to roll. Jim Miller welcomes Eric Gonzalez to the UFC on Saturday night, and give me Jim Miller in that one. The grounded veteran should be able to control this fight and the pace of it. I like his pressure early on. I like him to take this fight to the ground and dominate a very green Gonzalez. Folks, it's Andre Arlovski versus Carlos Felipe in a heavyweight showdown in the co-main event. In this fight, it's a pick'em between a couple of heavyweights, and my money is actually going in an unusual direction. I like the over 1.5 rounds. Arlovski has only won via decision since 2016, and Felipe averages 15 minutes of octagon time per fight. That's right, the man averages a decision. Make sure you take over 1.5 rounds between these 2 heavyweights. For our main event, folks, between Aspen Ladd and Norma Dumont, I see a lot of people taking Norma Dumont because of her boxing, but let me tell you this, a quick reminder, Aspen Ladd is an absolute beast. I like this fight to go over 1.5 rounds because both these ladies are so tough. But if I have to take a winner, I'm riding with Aspen Ladd every time. She has a high output and has a purple belt in BJJ and dominated a BJJ black belt in Ciara Eubanks on the ground. While Dumont may be the better striker on the feet, I have Ladd's pressure to close the distance. We've seen Dumont get tired against Felicia Spencer in that third round of their fight, so look for Ladd to lay in the ground and pound late and finish this fight. Coming in number 1 this week, folks, on Trees 3, it's no surprise, it's NFL football. With that victory for the Bucs on Thursday night, if you saw that, I had them winning on the Bear Down Breakdown. I am now 40-7 with my head-to-head picks this NFL season. I got a few more picks to lay down on you for this episode of Trees 3. Starting things out between the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Washington football team. Washington has allowed 4 passing TDs in each of their last 3 games, tied for the longest streak in the NFL since 1940. In contrast, Pat Mahomes has 4+ passing touchdowns in 12 games since 2018. The most in the NFL. Take Kansas City to get back in business. Next up, folks, the Houston Texans visit the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts nearly upset the Ravens in Baltimore on Monday Night Football. The Texans are allowing 154.2 rush yards per game since 2020, the most in the NFL. That means it's a big day in the works for Jonathan Taylor come Sunday. I love the Colts to take this must-win game at home. Take the Colts to ride on. Well, the Detroit Lions have shown a ton of heart this season and hasn't quite equated on the scoreboard as they have yet to win a game this season, and things don't get any easier as the Bengals come to town this Sunday. The Lions' struggles are largely due to their passing defense or lack thereof. They're surrendering the 3rd highest QB rating and the most yards per attempt in the NFL. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have it dialed in right now. Make sure you take the Bengals. In the battle of the NFL's 2 most popular teams, it's the Patriot Way versus America's team. It's the Cowboys visiting Foxborough on Sunday, and this is going to be a changing of the guard in my books. New England barely beat Houston, made Davis Mills look like Tom Brady last Sunday. The Texans quarterback shredded the Pats for 312 yards and a 141.7 passer rating. With that in mind, Dak Prescott is going to murder the Pats in Foxborough. The Dak attack has produced 3+ touchdown passes and 115 passer rating in 3 consecutive games. That's the longest streak in Dallas Cowboy history. And if Dak doesn't get it going, that second-ranked Dallas rush offense surely will. Take the Cowboys. Our Sunday nighter, folks, is a rematch of the Super Bowl from February 2006. It's the Seahawks visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't need to state the obvious by saying Geno Smith is not Russell Wilson. Well, the Steelers don't look like they're in Super Bowl form from 2006. They still beat the Seahawks in that Super Bowl, and I think they'll beat them on this Sunday night. They're at home against the Seahawks team that has allowed 450+ yards in 4 straight games, the longest streak in Seahawk history. The Steelers' top 15 ranked defense should be able to keep Geno Smith in check, who has just 12 wins and 31 career starts. I'm taking the Steelers to take this one on home turf. For an in-depth look at every Thursday night football matchup, the Bears versus the Packers and the Rams visiting the Giants this weekend, make sure you tune into this week's edition of the Bear Down Breakdown. Folks, as for a trivia question on this week's edition of Trees 3 to get in to win your pair of MLS or NBA tickets to see your favorite team play live, we've got a bit of a scandalous question for you. Who was the point guard that shaved points for Arizona State in 1994? Head on over to SportsTreeLTD.com right now, hit sign up or subscribe, and remember that upgrading your subscription is upgrading your chances to win up to $15,000 a year and tickets to see your favorite professional teams play live. Folks, I'm Connor Roundtree, and cheers, you've made it to the weekend.
3, 2,